What if a lot of what passes for smart is just good theater? Stage lights, a steady voice, and a confident look. Today we're dismantling the hidden rules of power that make false intelligence look real. And more importantly, how to see through it before it uses you. Here's the deal. Your brain has shortcuts. Useful? Yes, but ripe for manipulation. By others and by you. As Daniel Kahneman warned, what you see is all there is. We mistake what's visible for what's true. Ready to test your mind's security system? Keep score. Which one traps you the most? Smart illusion. Why confidence often replaces competence. We worship certainty. In crowded rooms and board meetings, confidence often becomes a proxy for intelligence. Enter the Dunning-Kruger effect. The less you know, the easier it is to overestimate what you know. Meanwhile, experts who see the complexity speak with more caution and get mistaken for weakness. Signals beat substance. A firm tone, fast answers, tidy slides. They hack the confidence heuristic, the brain's tendency to equate fluency and boldness with truth. This is why charismatic frauds rise and thoughtful builders are asked to be more assertive. Test yourself. Would you trust a calm, slow expert who says, "It depends," over a slick talker who says, "Always"? True intelligence tolerates uncertainty. Ask for receipts. Ask for mechanisms, not slogans. Ask, how would this fail? Memory mirage. How recall errors distort our judgment. Memory is not a filing cabinet. It's a storyteller that edits on the fly. Elizabeth Loftus showed how a single word, smashed versus hit, changes eyewitness memory of a car crash, even creating false glass that never existed. Your brain patches holes with best guesses, then swears it's accurate. You remember the gist, then backfill details. You confabulate. You misremember your own past beliefs, flattering your current self. You knew it all along. This corrupts judgments about people, events, even your own growth. Thought experiment. Recall a crucial conversation. Now ask the other person what you said. Notice the mismatch. The gap is your mirage. Practice external memory. Write decisions, predictions, and reasons in a dated log. Let paper outvote nostalgia. Halo haze. Attributing brilliance based on one good trait. The halo effect. One glowing feature bathes the whole person in borrowed light. Attractive? Must be smarter. Good at speaking? Must be good at strategy. Ivy League diploma? Must be insightful everywhere. The haze works both ways. One flaw becomes a pitch-black eclipse. Organizations confuse poise with judgment, grooming with wisdom. You do it too. Your favorite creator says something outside their lane, and you nod along. Why? Because the halo tells you they're a genius. Diffuse the halo by isolating domains. Ask, what is the specific evidence for competence in this exact skill? Because they're great at X is not evidence for Y. Intelligence is spiky, not a uniform glow. Anchor lock. First impressions that trap our reasoning. Anchors are cognitive gravity wells. The first number, first claim, first narrative sets a reference point your mind drifts back to, even when it's arbitrary. Tversky and Kahneman showed people bid more for items when their social security digits were higher. Absurd, but sticky. In negotiation, the first offer is a spell. In hiring, the first resume you read becomes the yardstick. In politics, the first scandal you learn frames all later data. Anchors don't just bias numbers, they bias plausibility. Countermeasure, generate your own anchor before exposure. Write your estimate privately. Use multiple anchors, pessimistic, realistic, optimistic. And when hearing a claim, ask, if I learned this in the opposite order, would I think differently? Order matters more than we admit. Availability echo, mistaking vivid stories for truth. What's vivid feels frequent. If a story is charged, blood, outrage, scandal, it echoes in memory, so your brain treats it as common. You fear plane crashes over car rides, sharks over heart disease, because the news beams drama, not base rates. Kahneman's classic, are there more words that start with K or words with K as the third letter? Most say, start with K, Wrong. It just feels easier to recall. Ease of recall masquerades as evidence. Practical rule: replace vibes with base rates. Before reacting, ask, what's the baseline frequency? Find the denominator. When a single story seduces you, collect 3 counterexamples on purpose. One loud case is not the world. Survivor spotlight: ignoring failures when only winners are seen. You watch interviews with billionaires, learn their secrets, and forget the graveyard of equally hardworking people who didn't make it. Survivorship bias: we analyze the planes that returned with bullet holes, then reinforce the wrong places until someone asks, where are the planes that didn't return? This bias fuels fake certainty. We copy morning routines and attribute success to rituals instead of luck, timing, or invisible help. We celebrate the startup that pivoted, not the 1,000 that pivoted into oblivion. Anti-glamour lens: when you study a winner, list the missing failures that use the same strategy. Seek pre-mortems and post-mortems. Intelligence respects the silent data. Comment below, what advice looks different once you add the graveyard? Narrative glue: how neat stories fool complex realities. Humans are story apes. We bind chaos with narrative glue, beginning, middle, end, so we can sleep at night. Nassim Taleb calls it the narrative fallacy. We invent coherent explanations after the fact, then mistake them for causes. History becomes a tidy staircase, not the earthquake it was. But reality is lumpy, multi-causal, non-linear. Great outcomes often emerge from messy feedback loops, not heroic arcs. Still, the smoother the story, the safer it feels. Our brains prefer a clean lie over a tangled truth. Try this. When you hear a compelling narrative, ask, what variables are invisible here? What would the story look like if this one factor changed? Add friction, add randomness. If the story collapses, it was sugar, not protein. Overconfidence fog: why we think we know more than we do. Overconfidence is the master glitch. Most drivers think they're above average. Most forecasters are too tight in their ranges. We believe we understand a zipper or toilet until asked to explain step by step. That's the illusion of explanatory depth, Rosenblatt and Keel. We also time travel poorly. The planning fallacy tells you a project will take 2 weeks. Reality laughs and takes 6. Why? Because you simulate best case and forget interruptions, coordination costs, and unknown unknowns. Prescription: calibrate. Make probabilistic predictions with ranges, then score them. Expand your intervals until 90% of outcomes land inside your 90% intervals. Practice saying, I don't know yet. Doubt is not weakness, it's accuracy. Now, connect the dots. Imagine waking up in a society where every choice you make is predicted before you make it. Are you free or are you just predictable? The wise don't escape bias. They build rituals to catch it leaking into their judgment. What's the one bias you catch yourself falling into most? Be brave and name it below. Because intelligence isn't how sharp your sword is. It's how clean your mirror stays. And mirrors only shine when you wipe away the stories that want to use you. Found this video interesting? Hit the subscribe button and help a humble explainer out.